The morning air was cold and sharp outside Buckingham Palace. Thousands of tourists crowded behind the iron gates, cameras ready, voices echoing off the stone walls. But one man stood closer than the rest. Too close? His name was Marcus Hale, 32 years old, red-faced, loud, drunk at 11 in the morning. He leaned against the railing, shouting at the royal guard standing perfectly still in his tall black bearskin hat and bright red tunic. The guard's name was William Cross, 24, 3 years of service. Eyes locked forward. Not a single muscle moved. Oi. You hear me, toy soldier? Marcus slurred, grinning at the crowd behind him. A few people laughed nervously. Most looked away. William didn't blink. Marcus took a step closer. Then another. The tourists started pulling out their phones. Something was about to happen. They could feel it. What's the matter? Can't talk? Too good for us common folk. Marcus's voice grew louder, angrier, his fists clenched at his sides. Still, William stood like a statue. One woman in the crowd whispered to her husband, someone should stop him. But no one moved. Marcus reached out. His fingers brushed the guard's sleeve, and that's when everything changed. Before we go any further, if you're enjoying this story, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what happens next. Trust me. William's eyes shifted. Just for a second. A warning. A silent message. Don't. But Marcus didn't see it. Or maybe he didn't care. He was too far gone. Too angry. Too proud. He shoved William's shoulder. Hard. The crowd gasped. Do something? Marcus screamed into his face. You think you're better than me? William's jaw tightened. But he didn't move. He couldn't. Not yet. The rules were clear. A royal guard does not react, does not respond, does not break. But Marcus wasn't done. He pulled his arm back. Slow, deliberate. The whole square seemed to freeze. Cameras zoomed in. Mothers covered their children's eyes, and then Marcus hailed through the punch. It landed square on William's jaw. The sound cracked through the air like a whip. William's head snapped to the side. His hat tilted but didn't fall. For a moment, everything went silent. Marcus stumbled back, laughing, shaking his hand like he'd just won a bar fight. See that? Did you see that? He shouted to the crowd, arms raised like a champion. But the crowd wasn't cheering. They were staring, wide-eyed, frozen. Because William was still standing, and now slowly he turned his head back. His eyes locked onto Marcus. Cold, focused, unblinking. Marcus's smile faded. He suddenly realized what he'd done. Where he was, who he'd just hit. I didn't mean, Marcus started to say, backing up. But it was already too late. From behind the gates, 2 more guards appeared. Then 4, then 6. All moving in perfect formation. Their boots echoed like thunder on the stone courtyard. Marcus's face went white. He turned to run. But the crowd had closed in. Phones everywhere. Flashing lights. No way out. One of the guards stepped forward. Bigger than William, older. His voice was calm but sharp as a blade. Sir, you need to come with us. Marcus shook his head, panic flooding his eyes. No. I was just messing around. It was a joke. A stupid joke. Now, sir. Marcus tried to push past them. Big mistake. What happened next would be caught on dozens of cameras. Shared millions of times. And talked about for years, but not for the reason Marcus thought. Marcus swung wildly at the nearest guard. His fist cut through empty air. The guard sidestepped like water, smooth and effortless. Then came the grip. The guard's hand locked around. Marcus's wrist, firm, unshakable. Marcus tried to pull away. He couldn't. He tried again, yanking with all his strength. Marcus screamed, thrashing like a trapped animal. The crowd pressed closer. Phones held high, recording everything. Some people were cheering now, others booing. The chaos was building. But the guards didn't rush. They didn't shout. They moved like clockwork, professional, controlled, terrifying in their calmness. One guard spoke quietly into his radio. Code yellow. Assault on personnel. Requesting backup and police presence. Marcus's eyes darted around, searching for an escape. There wasn't one. Then he made another mistake. He spat at William. The spit hit William's polished boot. A dark stain on the mirror shined. The entire courtyard went quiet again. William looked down at his boot, then back up at Marcus. And for the first time, something flickered in his expression. Not anger. Something colder. Something final. He nodded once to the other guards. They moved in. Marcus was lifted off his feet. Not roughly, but completely. His arms were locked behind his back in seconds. He kicked and screamed, but it was like fighting against steel. You can't do this. This is assault. Police brutality. Marcus shouted. One of the guards, the older one, leaned close to his ear. His voice was low, almost kind. Sir, we are police, and you just assaulted a member of the Queen's Guard on duty? That's not just a crime. That's a very, very serious crime. Marcus's face drained of color. He suddenly realized what he'd done. Really done. This wasn't just some security guard at a shopping mall. This was Buckingham Palace. These were trained soldiers, and he'd just punched one of them in front of hundreds of witnesses. I didn't know, Marcus stammered, his bravado crumbling. Ignorance isn't a defense, sir. He started walking him toward the side gate. Marcus tried to plant his feet, tried to resist, but it was useless. The guards moved him like he weighed nothing. The crowd parted. Some people clapped. Others shook their heads in disgust. A little boy, maybe 6 years old, tugged on his mother's sleeve. Mummy, why is that man in trouble? The mother knelt down, brushing hair from his eyes. Because he hurt someone who protects the Queen, and that's never okay. The boy nodded, watching as Marcus disappeared through the gate. Inside, the world changed. No more tourists. No more cameras. Just stone walls. Iron doors. In the heavy silence of consequence, Marcus was led down a corridor. His breath came fast and shallow. The alcohol fog was lifting. Reality was setting in. They stopped at a holding room. Small, gray, a single metal bench bolted to the wall. Sit, the older guard said. Marcus sat. His hands were shaken now. The guard stood by the door, arms crossed. He didn't speak. Didn't need to. His presence said everything. After what felt like an hour but was probably only minutes, the door opened again. A man in plain clothes stepped in, mid-40s, sharp suit, sharper eyes. He sat across from Marcus, placed a folder on the table, opened it slowly. Mr. Hale, do you know why you're here? Marcus's voice cracked. I made a mistake. A mistake. The man repeated the word like he was tasting it. Mr. Hale, you assaulted a serving member of Her Majesty's Armed Forces on duty at a royal residence, in front of hundreds of witnesses, and it's all on video. Marcus dropped his head into his hands. I'm sorry. I was drunk. I wasn't thinking. That much is clear. Leaned back. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to be formally charged. You'll appear in court. And depending on the severity of the charges, you could face up to 6 months in prison. Maybe more. Marcus looked up, eyes red. 6 months? At minimum. Assaulting a police officer and? Yes, the Queen's Guard counts as not taken lightly. And given the location, the publicity, and the premeditated nature of your actions, the Crown Prosecution Service will push for the maximum. Silence filled the room. Marcus's whole world was collapsing. But outside, in the courtyard, something else was happening. Something no one expected. William Cross was still standing at his post. Hat straightened, jaw swelling slightly, but still standing. And the crowd was watching him differently now. Not as a tourist attraction. Not as a statue, as a person. A teenage girl stepped forward, She was holding her phone, but not to record. She was reading the comments flooding her screen. "They're calling him a hero," she said quietly to her friend. Her friend looked confused. "Who? The guard?" "Yeah, look." She turned her phone. The video had already been shared thousands of times. Comments poured in. He didn't even flinch. "That's discipline. That's honor. I would have knocked that guy out." He just stood there. "Respect." The girl looked back at William. He hadn't moved. Hadn't acknowledged the crowd. He was doing exactly what he'd done before Marcus punched him. Standing, watching, protecting. But now everyone saw it differently. An older man. A veteran by the pins on his jacket stepped close to the railing. He didn't shout. Didn't wave. He just stood at attention. Then, slowly he saluted. Others noticed. A few more people straightened their backs, nodded. Some saluted too. William didn't react, but something in his eyes softened. Just for a moment, inside the holding room, Marcus sat in silence. The man in the suit had left. The guards had stepped outside. He was alone with his thoughts, and they were crushing him. His phone buzzed in his pocket. They hadn't taken it yet. He pulled it out. 23 missed calls. 46 messages. He opened the first one. It was from his sister. "Marcus, what did you do?" "It's everywhere. Everyone's seen it." Mum's in tears. "Call me," he scrolled. Another message. From his boss. "Don't bother coming in tomorrow. Or ever. You're done." Another. From a number he didn't recognize. "You're a disgrace. Hope they lock you up." Then another idiot. "Scum. You deserve everything coming to you." Marcus dropped the phone. His hands were trembling so badly he couldn't hold it. This wasn't just a mistake. This was the end of everything. His job, his reputation, his freedom, all because of one stupid, drunken punch. The door opened. A police officer stepped in. Uniform crisp. Expression neutral. "Marcus Hale, you're under arrest for assault on a constable in the execution of their duty. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defense if you do not mention when questioned something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence." The words washed over Marcus like ice water. "Stand up, please." He stood, legs weak. The officer cuffed his hands behind his back. The metal bit into his wrists. "This way." They walked him out through a side door. Away from the crowds, into a waiting police van. As the doors closed, Marcus caught one last glimpse of the palace. The red tunics, the tall black hats, the stone walls that had stood for centuries, and he realized something. He'd come here to feel powerful, to prove he wasn't small, to get a reaction, and he got one, but not the one he wanted. The van pulled away. Back at the palace, William's shift ended an hour later. He marched back inside with the same precision he'd shown all day. Once behind closed doors, his commanding officer approached him. "Cross. How's the jaw?" William touched it lightly. It was swollen, bruised. "I'm fine, sir. Medical says you need to get it checked." "Could be fractured?" "I don't think so, sir. That wasn't a suggestion, soldier." William nodded. "Yes, sir." The officer studied him for a moment, then clapped a hand on his shoulder. "You did well out there. Textbook discipline. The tourists won't forget it. Neither will we." William straightened. "Thank you, sir." But as he walked to the medical bay, William wasn't thinking about the praise. He was thinking about Marcus. The way his eyes had changed. From arrogance to fear to regret. William had seen that look before, on other faces. Other places, people thought being a royal guard was about standing still, looking impressive, being a symbol, but it was more than that. It was about control. Not just of your body, but of your mind, your emotions, your instincts. When Marcus punched him, every fiber of William's being wanted to hit back, wanted to defend himself, wanted to make Marcus pay, but he didn't, because that's what discipline meant. Not never feeling the anger, but choosing not to act on it? The medic examined his jaw. You're lucky. No fracture. Just heavy bruising. Ice it for the next few days. Soft foods. Ibuprofen for the pain. Thank you. William left the medical bay and headed to the locker room. Other guards were there, changing out of their ceremonial uniforms. One of them, Davies, looked up. Heard you had a rough one today. Could have been worse. Could have been better. Davies grinned. You're all over the internet, mate. Absolute legend. William didn't smile. Just doing the job. Yeah, but you did it perfectly. That bloke's going to prison. You know that, right? William nodded slowly. I know. Good. He deserves it. William didn't respond. He finished changing, grabbed his bag, headed for the door. As he stepped outside into the evening air, he pulled out his phone. One message from his mom. Saw the news. Are you all right, love? He typed back quickly. I'm fine, Mom. Don't worry. He pocketed the phone and started walking, but deep down something bothered him. Something he couldn't quite name. He didn't feel like a hero. He felt tired and a little bit sad because he knew what would happen to Marcus, and no part of him felt good about it. 3 weeks later, Marcus stood in a courtroom. Gray suit, no tie. His lawyer beside him, flipping through papers with a grim expression. The room smelled like old wood and tension. People filled the benches behind him, journalists, strangers. His sister Emma sat in the second row. She was the only one who came. Their mother couldn't handle it. Their father refused to speak to him. The judge entered. Everyone stood, then sat. The Crown versus Marcus James Hale, the clerk announced. Marcus's stomach twisted. The prosecutor stood. Tall woman. Sharp voice. She laid out the case with surgical precision. Video evidence. Witness statements. Police reports, Your Honor. This was not a momentary lapse in judgment. Mr. Hale approached the guard deliberately, harassed him verbally, then physically assaulted him. A trained soldier. A serving officer, at one of the most secure and symbolic locations in the United Kingdom. She paused, letting the words sink in. This wasn't just assault. It was an attack on the very principles these guards represent. Duty, service, restraint. Marcus's lawyer stood. Older man. Tired eyes. He did his best, Your Honor. My client deeply regrets his actions. He was intoxicated. He was going through personal difficulties. He has no prior record of violence. He is willing to undergo counseling, community service, whatever the court deems appropriate. The judge listened, took notes, then looked directly at Marcus. Mr. Hale, stand. Marcus stood. His legs felt like water. Now, do you understand the seriousness of what you've done? Yes, Your Honor, do you? The question hung in the air. Heavier than before, Marcus swallowed. I was stupid, drunk, angry. I took it out on someone who didn't deserve it. Someone who was just doing his job. And what do you think should happen to you? Marcus hesitated. No one had asked him that. I think I should be punished. I think I need help. And I think I need to make this right somehow. The judge studied him. Long seconds passed. The court recognizes your remorse, Mr. Hale, but remorse does not erase consequence. Marcus nodded. You are sentenced to 4 months in prison, suspended for 12 months, meaning if you commit any offense in the next year, you will serve that time. Additionally, 150 hours of community service, and you will pay compensation to the victim for medical expenses and emotional distress. Marcus's knees buckled. His lawyer caught his arm. Will also be required to attend alcohol counseling and anger management courses. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. The judge's expression softened. Just slightly. Mr. Hale, you made a choice that day. A terrible one. But you get to make another choice now. What kind of person you'll be moving forward. Don't waste it. I won't, Your Honor. The gavel struck. It was over. Marcus walked out of the courtroom. Emma was waiting in the hall. She didn't say anything, just hugged him. I'm sorry, Marcus whispered. I know. Stood there for a long moment. Then Emma pulled back, looking him in the eyes. You have to do better, Marcus. Not for the judge. Not for Mum. For you. I will. I promise. Promises were easy. Following through was the hard part. That night, Marcus lay in his flat, staring at the ceiling. The sentence could have been worse. He knew that, but it didn't feel like a victory. He pulled up the video on his phone, the one everyone had seen, watched himself punch William, watched the guards close in, watched himself panic and flail like a child. He looked pathetic. In the comments, thousands of them. Most were brutal, but a few stood out. One person wrote, "He deserves a second chance." Everyone does. Another, "I hope he learns from this." People can change. Marcus read those over and over, clinging to them. Meanwhile, across the city, William sat in his small apartment, tea going cold on the table. He was reading the news. The sentencing had made headlines. Buckingham Palace attacker sentenced, for months suspended. William set the phone down. He didn't feel satisfaction. He didn't feel vindicated. He just felt ... tired. His girlfriend, Sarah, sat beside him. You okay? Yeah. You sure? He looked at her. I keep thinking about him. About what would make someone do that. He was drunk. He was angry. Some people are just like that, maybe. William stared at his hands. But I wonder what happened to him. Before that day. What made him so angry? Sarah touched his cheek gently. That's not your responsibility, Will. You did nothing wrong. I know. Do you? He didn't answer. The truth was, William couldn't stop thinking about it. Not the punch. Not the pain. But the look in Marcus's eyes afterward. The fear. The shame. William had been trained to be strong, disciplined, unyielding, but no one trained him for this. For the weight of watching someone destroy their own life in a single moment, Sarah rested her head on his shoulder. You're a good person, Will. Don't let this change that. He kissed the top of her head. I'll try. But deep down something had changed. He just didn't know what yet. 2 months passed. Marcus showed up to his first community service shift. A park cleanup crew. He was handed gloves, a trash bag, and a pointed stick. The supervisor, a gruff man named Tony, barely looked at him. You're in Section C. Start at the East End. Work your way west. For hours. Don't slack off. Yes, sir. Marcus walked to his section. The park was quiet. A few joggers. Some kids on swings. Normal life. He started picking up trash. Cigarette butts. Soda cans. Candy wrappers. It was humbling. Humiliating even. But it was also ... grounding. For the first time in months, Marcus wasn't thinking about the video. Wasn't thinking about the comments. He was just here. Doing something useful. About an hour in, someone approached. Marcus looked up. It was a man in jogging gear. Late 20s, fit. Familiar somehow. The man stopped, stared. Recognition flashed across his face. You're him. The guy from the palace. Akis's stomach dropped. Yeah, the jogger shook his head. Unbelievable. Marcus braced himself for the insult. The anger. But instead the jogger said, Good on you, mate. Doing the work. That takes guts. Marcus blinked. What? Look, you messed up bad. But you're here. Cleaning up. Trying to fix it. That's more than most people would do. He jogged off before Marcus could respond. Marcus stood there, trash bag in hand, something warm spreading in his chest. Maybe, just maybe, there was a way forward. 6 months after the incident, Marcus's life looked different. Not perfect, but different. He'd finished his community service, completed his anger management course, attended every alcohol counseling session, found a new job, warehouse work. Not glamorous, but honest. His flat was cleaner. His head was clearer. He called his mom every Sunday, but the shame never fully left. It lived in his chest like a stone, heavy, cold, especially when he passed tourists taking selfies. When he heard accents like his own, loud and careless, he became quieter, more careful, more aware. One evening, Marcus sat in his local pub. Just a Coke this time. Old habits were too dangerous to revisit. The television above the bar showed the news. Buckingham Palace. Changing of the guard. The same ceremony. The same tourists. Marcus watched, something twisting inside him. Then his phone buzzed. Unknown number. He almost ignored it, but something made him answer. Hello? Mr. Hale. A woman's voice. Professional. Polite. Yes. This is Rebecca Cole from the Restorative Justice Program. We've been in contact with the victim in your case. William Cross. He's expressed interest in meeting with you. If you're willing... Marcus's blood ran cold. Meeting? Why would he want to meet me? Restorative justice gives both parties a chance to speak, to find closure, to heal. It's completely voluntary. You can say no.
Hi.
Marcus's hand tightened around the phone. What? What would happen? In the meeting, you'd sit together, with a mediator present. He'd have a chance to tell you how the incident affected him. You'd have a chance to explain yourself, to apologize if you choose to. No one forces anything. It's about understanding. Marcus was quiet for a long time. When? Next Thursday. 2 o'clock? If you're interested, I am. Good. I'll send you the details. The call ended. Marcus stared at his phone. His heart hammered against his ribs. William wanted to see him. Why? To yell at him? To make him feel worse? Or something else? Marcus didn't sleep that night. Or the next 3 Thursday came too fast. Marcus stood outside a community center. Plain building. Brick walls. A sign that read, Restorative Justice Mediation Services. He took a breath. Pushed the door open. Inside, a woman waited. Rebecca, 50s kind eyes. Marcus. Yeah, thank you for coming. William's already here. Are you ready? Marcus nodded. Lie. He wasn't ready. But he was here. She led him down a hall. Opened a door. Inside was a small room. Table. 3 chairs. Windows with soft light. And William, he sat on the far side of the table. Civilian clothes. Jeans. Navy jumper. His jaw had healed. No bruise. No swelling. But the memory of it hung in the air between them. William looked up. Their eyes met. Marcus felt his throat close. Please, sit, Rebecca said gently. Marcus sat. Hands folded. Shaking slightly, Rebecca sat between them. Thank you both for being here. This is a safe space. No judgment. No punishment. Just honesty. William, would you like to begin? William nodded. He looked at Marcus. Not with anger. Not with hate. Just ... steadiness. I wanted to meet you because I needed to understand why you did it. Who you are. Beyond that moment, Marcus swallowed hard. I don't have a good reason. I'm not asking for a good reason. I'm asking for the truth. Marcus looked down at his hands. I was angry. At everything. My job. My life. Myself. I'd been drinking since morning. I saw you standing there, so calm, so together, and I hated it. Hated that you had it together, and I didn't. So I lashed out. I wanted to break something, and you were there. The words spilled out, raw, ugly. True. William listened. Didn't interrupt. Just listened. I'm sorry, Marcus said, voice cracking. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I'm sorry. You didn't deserve that. No one did. Silence filled the room. Then William spoke. Thank you. For saying that? Marcus looked up, surprised. I'm not going to lie, William continued. That day was hard. Not the punch. I've been hit before. But afterward, knowing everyone saw it, knowing it was everywhere online, I felt exposed. Vulnerable. Like I failed somehow. You didn't fail, Marcus said quickly. You were perfect. Everyone said so. William shook his head. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to do my job. And that day, I did. But it still got to me. For a while, I ruined your life. No, you didn't. William's voice was firm. You made my life harder for a bit, but you didn't ruin it. And honestly, sitting here now, I see someone who's trying. Who's working to be better? That matters. Marcus's eyes burned. He blinked hard. Why did you want to meet me? William leaned back. Because I kept thinking about you. Wondering if you were okay. If you'd learned anything. If there was more to you than that one moment. He paused. I think there is. Marcus couldn't speak. The stone in his chest was cracking. It's not gone. But cracking. Rebecca spoke softly. Would you like to continue? Or is this a good place to pause? William looked at Marcus. I think we're good. What about you? Marcus nodded. Yeah, we're good. They stood. Hesitated. Then slowly, William extended his hand. Marcus stared at it, then took it. They shook, firm, honest, to people who'd been locked in a terrible moment. Now choosing to move past it. Care of yourself, Marcus, William said. You too, William. They left through different doors, back to their separate lives. But something had shifted, something neither of them could quite explain. As Marcus walked home, the stone in his chest felt lighter. Not gone. Maybe it never would be. But lighter, he pulled out his phone. Typed a message to Emma. I met him today. The guard. We talked. I think I'm going to be okay. Her reply came fast. I'm proud of you. Marcus smiled. Small, real. For the first time in months, he believed her. 1 year after the punch, Marcus stood outside Buckingham Palace again. This time, sober. This time, quiet. This time, different. He wasn't here to cause trouble. He was here to remember. To see the place where his life had split in two. Before and after. Tourists crowded the gates. Same as before. Cameras out. Voices loud. A new guard stood in the spot where William once stood. Different face. Same red tunic. Same tall hat. Marcus watched from a distance. Hands in his pockets. Just another face in the crowd. A little girl ran up to the railing, pointing excitedly. Mummy, look. A real guard. Her mother smiled. Yes, love. But remember, we don't bother them. They're working. The girl nodded seriously. I'll be very quiet. Marcus felt something twist in his chest. Not shame this time. Something softer. Regret, maybe. But also, gratitude that he'd been stopped. That he'd been forced to face himself. He turned to leave. But someone called out, Marcus. He froze. Turned around. William stood a few feet away. Civilian clothes, again, jacket, scarf. Off-duty William. Hi. They stood awkwardly for a moment. Then William stepped closer. I thought that was you. What are you doing here? Marcus shrugged. Facing the ghost, I guess. Seeing if I could stand here without hating myself, and... Can you? Marcus looked at the palace. The guard. The tourists. Getting there. William nodded. Good. That's good. What about you? Marcus asked. Still on duty? Occasionally. But I've been reassigned mostly. Training new recruits now that suits you, you think? Yeah, you've got patience. Control. They're lucky to learn from you. William smiled slightly. Thanks. They stood in comfortable silence. Watching the crowd. Watching the ceremony, then Marcus spoke. I think about that day a lot. Not just the bad parts, but the after. Meeting you, talking. You didn't have to do that. You could have just hated me. Moved on. I thought about just hating you, William admitted. Would have been easier. But it wouldn't have helped either of us. Still, thank you. William looked at him. Really looked. You're different now. I can see it. I hope so. I'm trying. That's all anyone can do. A silence settled between them. Not uncomfortable, just ... present. Then Marcus reached into his pocket. Pulled out a small card. I know this might seem weird, but if you ever need anything, help moving, someone to talk to, whatever I owe you. More than I can repay, but I want to try. William took the card, looked at the number, then at Marcus. You don't owe me anything. I know, but I want to, if that makes sense. William pocketed the card. It does, and thank you. They shook hands again. Easier this time. More natural. Take care, Marcus. You too, William. They walked in opposite directions. Two lives that had collided, now moving forward separately, but better for the collision. Marcus headed to the tube station. His shift at the warehouse started in an hour. It wasn't exciting work, but it was his. Earned. Honest. On the train, he watched the city blur past the windows. Thought about the girl at the palace. Her excitement? Her respect. That's what he'd lacked that day. Respect. For William. For the job. For himself, but he had it now. Hard-earned. Painful, but real. His phone buzzed. Message from his mom. Dinner Sunday? Your father wants to see you. Marcus stared at the message. His father hadn't spoken to him since the arrest. Hadn't returned his calls. Hadn't answered the door when Marcus tried to visit. He typed back slowly. Like that. Thank you. 3 dots appeared. Then, he's proud of you. He won't say it. But he is. Marcus closed his eyes. Breathed deep. Across the city, William walked into a cafe. Ordered tea. Sat by the window. Sarah met him there, kissing his cheek. How was the palace? Good saw Marcus, actually. Really? How is he? Better? Different? I think he's going to be okay. Sarah studied his face. And you? Are you okay? William thought about it. Really thought. Yeah, I think I am. She squeezed his hand. Good. You deserve to be. They sat together, drinking tea, watching people pass by outside. Normal life. Quiet life. Good life. Later that evening, William sat at his desk, pulled out the card Marcus gave him, stared at the number. He thought about throwing it away, moving on, forgetting. But instead, he saved it in his phone. Under Marcus Hale. It's not as a victim. Not as an enemy. Just as a name, a person. Someone who'd made a mistake and was trying to make it right. And maybe that was enough. Back in his flat, Marcus heated up a microwave meal. Cheap, simple, but it was his meal. His flat, his life. He pulled up the video one last time. The punch. The chaos. The fear. He watched it all the way through. Then deleted it from his phone. He didn't need it anymore. The past couldn't be erased. The videos would live online forever. The articles. The comments. The judgment. But Marcus wasn't defined by his worst moment anymore. He was defined by what he did after, the healing, the work, the change. That night, both men slept soundly. No nightmares, no guilt. No rage, just peace. And in the morning, they both woke to the same city, the same sky, the same chance to be better than they were yesterday. That's all anyone could ask for. One punch changed 2 lives, but it didn't break them. It bent them, shaped them, made them stronger in places they didn't know they needed strength. And in the end, that's what forgiveness looks like. Not forgetting, not pretending it didn't happen, but choosing to move forward anyway, together, separately, human, flawed, but trying, always trying, and sometimes, that's enough.